Greetings, it's your man Rory T. Edwards. You all know me a lot of times from Facebook Live, YouTube Live, but see, I'm taking it to another level today. I'm taking it to the podcast world because I'm in demand like that. But the great thing about this is that I'm not going to be doing this show alone. I'm going to be doing it with my man, Ennis Wesley. Couldn't be here today with me, but we are going to bring you so many exciting topics, so many exciting and people that are going to be able to bring you the information that you need. But primarily what we're going to provide is an opportunity for you all to have the best information and knowledge that is possible for you to be the best person in what you do. So what am I going to talk about today? Today is a new show. It's a new day. But what I'm going to talk about is a lot of people have been going through a lot of things during these last few years. And so what is it that we need to provide for you? And today what I'm going to talk to you about is one of the most premier and prominent workshops that the Rory T. Edwards Group offers. And that workshop is entitled Life. Now, what does life mean? Most people think it's the everyday experiences that you go through, but life is really something different for us. Life means living in fear of excellence. Now, if you all live in fear of excellence, what we're going to do is provide an opportunity for you to proceed to that process of living in excellence. And I'm going to give you a few examples today. But one of the things I want to start off with is that, let me tell you what happens. When you get mature, you have to now refer to notes. So the podcast world says I can use notes, so I don't have to go off the top of my head. But a lot of times I will go off the top of my head. But today we're going to talk about, I want to concentrate on a poem. This poem was sent to me by one of my mentors, Mr. Professor William Jenkins. And he sent me a poem, and the poem was by Georgia Johnson. And the poem says, "Your world is as big as you make it." So how many people out there in the world right now understand that your world is as big as you make it? Not like I can tell you how to make it, not like your friends can tell you how to make it, but as big as you make it. And it says the world first exists in our minds, and from that picture, we shape our environments accordingly. So what does that mean? We shape our environments accordingly. Let me talk to you about one of the other things. One of the things that we do is we concentrate on the wellness. We concentrate on the 9 phases of wellness. But I'm going to talk to you today about 5 phases of wellness. And those 5 phases of wellness can help you to influence your outcomes. What did I say? It's the world is as big as you make it. So we're going to ask you how big you want to make it. But one of those phases we're going to talk about today is your spiritual wellness. And your spiritual wellness is not your religion, but understanding who you serve. Because no matter what you do in this world, honestly, I want you to be honest with yourself. You serve somebody. Either you serve money, either you serve a higher being, either you serve your own credentials in yourself, or you serve some other form of influence. But we all serve something. You may serve your boss. You may serve your spouse. You may serve your children. You may serve an addiction. There's a whole bunch of things out there that you serve that you may not even understand that you serve. But we all serve something. And so our spiritual perspective, and let me slow down just a little bit because I don't want you to think that I'm rushing through this information. Because like at this level, it's you. It's you talking to me. It's me talking to you. And also we want you to be able to provide us questions and ask questions so we can give you the answers to this. But the spiritual part of it is that you have to understand that you serve something, or you serve someone, or you serve an influence in your life. And so when we talk about the spiritual perspective, we have to understand that for you to have balance in your life, the spiritual perspective is a major part of your wellness development. Now, let's talk about your emotional part. Now, most people think that the emotions are driven by their thoughts, but emotions are also incorporated into all of these particular components. But our emotional part is based on our mental resiliency. Now, when you talk about mental resiliency, some people will say, well, what does that mean? Well, mental resiliency, let me give you an example. How many of you out there are sports fans? Okay. I saw the hands raised. Even out in the world, I saw all the hands raised because most of you love sports. Most of you were tied to your televisions for the Super Bowl. I hope your team won. I'm a New York Giant fan. I'm going to stay strong to my Giants no matter how good we didn't look this year. Guess what? We're still champions because we're from New York. That's the key, right? Understand? So if you're from New York, put your fingers up in the air, but what I'm saying is that you have to understand who you like is who you stay with, because that's called mental resiliency. No matter how the pain is, it's still, like they say in the weight room, no pain, no gain. So we're trying to gain here. But mental resiliency, let me give you an example. So you have a little young running back who wants to be an extraordinary athlete. And so you put him on the field and you tell him, I'm going to pitch out to you and I want you to run around the end. Now, every time he runs around the end, there's a big guy, linebacker, on the other end waiting for him. And every time he comes around that end, he pancakes him. He lays him out. And the little guy gets up, and the coach runs over and says, you got to be tough. You got to be tough. Get up and run through him. Well, that's like saying taking your car and running it through a Jersey barrier. You're never going to get through the Jersey barrier. You're going to wreck more cars than you're going to wreck Jersey barriers. So mental resiliency means you have to find a way to get around that obstacle. And so your emotional mental resiliency comes from, okay, now, you know that when the big guy plants his foot that he's going to pancake you. So what do? When he plants that foot, you know that's his weak side. So what you do is you run to the opposite side and he has to reverse. And if he can't reverse as quick as you can pivot, then you go around him, you take it to the house, 6 points, touchdown. That's mental resiliency, is finding an alternative option for you to complete what your emotional state, emotional being is. That's mental resiliency. And most of us don't even understand that. We wake up in the morning, we have different thoughts on our minds. Our minds drive us through 50 to 75,000 thoughts a day. Did anybody know that? Most people get up in the morning and think that they thought up all those things. No, our mind is at rest, but our spiritual consciousness is still working. So it's delivering all of these messages from the universe into our minds every day. And so when we wake up, 50 to 75,000 thoughts go through our head every day. Now, a lot of people are going to say, what is this? What good is this to me right now? Well, it's because you have to understand how you think and how you give life to those things that you think about. But before I even go that far, let me tell you, I want to talk about, this is my book. See, this is my book, The 13 Commandments of Rory T. Edwards. You can go to my website, www.rorytedwards.com. I have a few books on there. I have, my first one is So You Want to Be a Professional Athlete. All of the young people out there who want to become professional athletes, all of the parents out there who believe you have the next superstar in your household, we have the blueprint for he or she. I have another one that's called The Power to the P. It's a 13-step synergistic book that talks about mind mapping and you developing your blueprint for life success. And the fourth one is titled Numbers Don't Lie, People Do. And I'm going to say that again because that's so factual. Numbers don't lie, people do. So when you go in the mirror and your man says, baby, you look good, and you know you 300 pounds, the numbers on the scale don't lie, but your man is. Okay? So we're going to throw a little comedy in here too, but I just want to say, if you're big and beautiful, I still love you. That's what I want you to know. But let's talk about the 13 commandments real quick, and I want to talk about the forward. Because when I'm talking about the emotional part of it, I want to say that the forward in the book, I believe, is very important. It says an old Cherokee is teaching his grandson about life. He says a fight is going on inside of all of us every day, he says to the boy. It's a terrible fight, and it's between two wolves. One is evil. He or she is anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. He continues, the other is good. He or she is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. He says the same fight is going on inside you and inside every other person in the world. The grandson thought about it for a minute, and then he asked his grandfather, well, grandfather, which wolf wins? The old Cherokee simply replied, the one you feed. So again, he says the one you feed. So when we talk about your emotional state of mind, it's the wolf that you feed every morning that dictates life, living in fear of excellence. If you're going to be excellent, then you have to understand that the one you feed is the one that you're going to actually become during the course of the day. And sometimes it doesn't just last for days, it lasts for weeks, it lasts for months, it lasts for years, and sometimes we've seen people who it lasts for a lifetime. So when we talk about these 5 phases of wellness, the emotional state for which you operate in every day is very, very important. So let's talk about the physical one. That's the third one. My statement on physical is how you invest in what you ingest. Now, some people love to get up in the morning. They don't want to cook breakfast. They want to run out and grab a fast food, a sandwich, a little croissant with some sausage and some eggs and all of that processed food. And then you wonder why those new dresses or those new pants or that suit is fitting a little tight. It's because of what you invested in. You invested in all of those processed foods. And that's what your body is becoming, processed foods. I'm not saying that you have to go to the gym and be physically fit like me. But I just want to let you know that I do go to the gym. I do love to keep not just my body in proper shape, but I just want to say that what it does for me, it just cleanses out all of those toxins that are sitting inside of my body. I don't go to the gym to become Mr. Olympian. I already was that. So now what I'm doing is I'm trying to keep my mental resiliency. I'm trying to keep my physique in order, but I'm also trying to eat right. One of the things that's very important is that you invest in fruits and vegetables on a daily basis. Fruits and vegetables are the most important part of a meal. And if you want to know, you can get in touch with me. I have a product that I can put you in touch with that can help you change your life and to get all the fruits and vegetables you need on a daily basis. See, I have those connections. I told you I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. So I want you to understand that's what we're talking about. But it's what you invest in and how you ingest. And then it's also, you don't have to go out and run 10 miles. You can walk a few miles. You know what walking does? Walking also clears out some of those 50 to 75,000 thoughts that we had in our brain that can then manifest into something that is detrimental to your growth. And so that's what we're trying to talk to you about. These 9 phases of wellness are some of the things that we're going to be talking about, Ennis, Wesley, and I, as we move forward with these podcasts. We're going to make sure that you're most informed, because one of the things that I always heard when I was growing up, you can't say you didn't know if you talked to me. Because I'm going to tell you everything I have, because that's my purpose on earth. My purpose on earth is not to take everything I have been given to the graveyard with me. Some of the most important people in the world and some of the most intelligent people are in the graveyard and never had an opportunity to share those great gems with those who they should have shared them with, because they felt that they were taking them. Somebody was going to take them and do them better than they did. Well, if you give me an idea and you're incapable of doing it, somebody should take it in, because if it's an idea that's going to grow and make people manifest into something greater, that's what our purpose is. Our purpose for being on this earth is to grow the next generation to be greater than the previous generation. So that's what I'm talking about. Now, I'm going to skip the 4th one and go to the 5th one and then come back to the 4th one, because I think the 4th one is probably the biggest and most important. Let's talk about our intellectual wellness, because some of us are walking around here on straight buffoon. And we think that we know everything. We think that we're the most smartest person in the world. And it's all based on what you consider intellectual, your intellectual foundation. And our intellectual is not just school. It's what you choose to engage with and who you choose to engage with to develop your foundation of learning and teaching. And so many people would gravitate towards those who may be the loudest. But in a movie that we all probably watch, The American Gangster, in the American Gangster movie, Denzel in that movie said one thing. He said, the loudest person in the room is the weakest person in the room. So I want you to understand that if you're running around hollering information that you have no clue about foundationally and it's factual, then you're just talking. What you're doing is you're just emitting carbon monoxide into the air to help the trees and the flowers and things grow. You're not really spewing knowledge to anybody for anybody to grow. But our intellectual wellness also gives us an opportunity to be in the rooms for which we desire to be in. A lot of times people feel neglected because I should be doing this or I should be doing that. Well, my tagline for the Rory T. Edwards group says this: you cannot withdraw what you did not deposit. And I'm going to say it again. You cannot withdraw what you did not deposit. And so many people are going to the bank and their slip is coming back insufficient funds because you didn't deposit anything in your life account for you to withdraw for it to be relevant in the area for which you believe you need to be relevant in. And there's nothing wrong with that. But for you to be relevant, there's a small percentage that there's some factors that are also very vital to our growth in the country. But a lot of times it's based on you. You're going to run into people who really don't want to promote you. There are going to be people who don't want to support you. There's going to be people who don't like you because of the certain group or individuals you're associated with. But one thing that people cannot deny is your intellectual wellness, your intellectual foundation. And so it's not that you think you're better than everybody, because I've had that said to me a lot of times. And you know what I tell people? You're right. I always thought I was better than everybody, because if I didn't think I was better than everybody, I'd be the same, right? There's a difference I have in my book also. I talk about the only difference between a pigeon and an eagle is their worldview. My worldview is from the eagle's perspective. There's so many people walking around here being pigeons, and all you do is throw some crumbs out and they go straight after them. They don't care if cars are coming, trucks are coming, trains are coming, planes are coming. Them pigeons will eat it right up off the ground, and they will not put their head up until all of that stuff is gone. But an eagle flies to the highest points that no other bird can get to. And he and she sit there, and then they soar over vast amounts of land that they occupy, and that they're the dominant one of that. So remember that. Your worldview is the only difference between the pigeon and the eagle's worldview is where they see the world. And so let's go to the last one, because I think it's not really the last one. There's 9, but the 5 that I want to talk about. The last one is your social wellness. Now, what is your social wellness? People are going to say, oh, my social media, I got 10,000 viewers. I got 10,000 views. Oh, I had 1.5 million on my video. Yeah, but if your video has nothing of substance, you just got people who don't believe in substance. They have no what's that? That's like pouring water on a fire. Eventually, you're just going to create a little bit of smoke. But your social doesn't mean your social media content. Your social means your circle of influence. What I tell people all the time, and I want to tell all you out there, do this before you see me next time. Do this. Look at your closest 5 friends and evaluate them. What assets do they bring to you? What deficits do they bring to you? Which one outweighs which one? Now, if they bring assets to you, if they're helping you build your empire and you're helping them build their empire, then they're an asset. But if every time you put a brick on your empire and you turn your back and they steal that brick, what are they doing? They're a deficit to you. So you got to understand your circle of influence. What is your circle of influence again? It's the people who are around you, who support you, who love you, who will do anything possible to help you grow. And in turn, you do the same thing to help them grow. That's why I chose to do this podcast with Ennis Wesley. Because ever since I've been in Las Vegas, this is the one guy who's invested in me and has recognized my intellect without me even have to go out and stand up on a soapbox and tell people how intelligent I am. It's by my actions. And so when you talk about your circle of influence, you have to put people in your circle who are going to build you every day, and in turn, you build them. And together you'll have the pyramids in Giza. That's what happens. These pyramids weren't built and then somebody said, I'm going to build a bigger one. They were built simultaneously, and they were built all together for one purpose. That's to put the kings and queens who served during those times in a proper grave. So when we talk about that, those are the things that we need to address when we're talking about our wellness. There's 9 other phases: occupational, there's environmental, there's financial, and there is, gosh, I always forget the last one. I don't know why, but I was pretty good, right? I did eight. 8 out of 9 isn't bad, really, especially if I was a hand grenade, I would blow up a lot of stuff. But 8 out of 9 winning lottery numbers doesn't work, right? And people say, what's 9 lottery numbers have to do with it? There's only 6. I just want to see if you're paying attention. Yeah, I just want to see if you're paying attention. But one of the things that I want to talk about prior to us sort of, moving through this thing is we have to understand what our metaphysical manifestation looks like. Now, metaphysical manifestation, some people are saying he's trying to use big words. He's trying to confuse me. No, I'm not. I'm just trying to talk to you about your metaphysical manifestation. What does that mean? Your metaphysical means why the philosophy of the concept most people don't understand is we ask the question of ourselves every day, silently, sometimes out loud. I see people walking up and down the strip. They may be asking it out loud because they've gone past their metaphysical understanding. They ask themselves, why am I here? Everybody wants to know, why am I here? What is my purpose for being here? Well, that's determined by you. When I first spoke about the first card I brought up, the poem by Georgia Johnson, your world is as big as you make it. Nobody in this world wants to be small. Nobody. And I'm not talking about your stature. I'm not talking about, 5'4" or something. I'm 6'8", 7 foot. I'm talking about your purpose in this world. Everybody wants to be valued. Everybody wants to have their values valued. And everybody wants to feel valuable. There's no person on this world that you can ask. I don't care if you ask the most... the person who you see, who you believe has nothing. I used to work in a shelter, and some of the most intelligent people I ever met were people who were in the shelter, and they just ran into bad situations. And a lot of times it was because of their circle of influence. They had people around them who just took, and then when it came time to give back, those people were gone, and they ended up on the streets. But as we talk about the metaphysical manifestation, everybody wants to know one thing. Why am I here? I want to know why I'm here. I know you all want to know why you're here. And in some of these conversations that we're going to have going forward, we're going to definitely talk about why you're here, but we're going to talk to you from our perspective and give you an opportunity to then search a little bit deeper than some of you sitting on the couch just thinking, I have no purpose here. Well, there's someone I serve who I know believes that the reason I'm still here is because I have a purpose, and that you should have a purpose also. And if you could create, we can create just an amazing world if we just understand what that purpose is and how we get there. And that's what we do. But before I sort of end this program today, I want to talk about one of the chapters in my book. I think because some people don't even understand some of those things that happen as they are going on when we talk about what are you traveling. Like I spoke about earlier when people say, you think you're better than me. Yeah, I always did. I always will. But I'm not going to disrespect you, but I'm always going to think I'm better than everybody. And those who know me and those who have followed me and those who really know me know that I always thought that. And it wasn't an ego thing. It wasn't arrogant. It was just that if I competed or did something, I was going to try to be the best. I was going to try to win. And winning is one of the things that people say, who remembers second place? So if I don't remember second place, then my name is going to be first place. So my intentions then within us on this podcast is to be what? The #1 podcast in the nation. No, excuse me, in the world. Because we're going to take this internationally. We're not just going to stay around here in America and talk to people, because I do have some international clients. Shout out to my people in New Zealand and Australia and Fiji and Japan and China and St. Martin. I've been to all these places, the Bahamas. I've been to all these places to talk to some of the people about athletics and also about developing their life, living in fear of excellence. But let me tell you one of the things that I really want to talk to you about. When people say, what is the greatest thing that I need to do? Well, it says, one of the things that you heard when people talk to some of the basketball stars, they said, what is their why? What is your why? So let me read to you what this chapter says. Each chapter has a quote by me. It also has a symbol. Let me show you. The symbol of intuition, right? The symbol of intuition sort of makes you aware of where you get your thoughts from. It's your intuition. It's your consciousness. It's the things that are brewing inside your spirit that if you deflect those outside influences will give you the direction for your purpose being here. But I have written, and this is one of my quotes, it says, have you asked yourself, what is my vision of life? Through this process, anticipate, collaborate, navigate, communicate, listen, learn, and lead, and celebrate. Realize yearning within you to be brilliant. Surrender to the intensity of that energy and define its purpose. Never allowing anyone to attach the stamp of ambiguity, to the empowering brilliance of your most esteemed dreams or visions that ascend from your powerful ingenuity. Preserve until you reach your plateau of excellence. So it says, consider these questions. Why do you wake up in the morning and hustle or procrastinate? Why do you do what you do to make yourself or others believe your why has value? Who have you based your sources of relevance on? Knowing the answer to this question is the single most important thing you know about yourself. If you want to become truly productive in your journey, when you know the rationale for what you are doing, then you are free to do what you were created to do. After you adopt this mindset to enhance your method of knowing and cultivating, then you will understand your true purpose. There will never again be a question, only answers about where you are and how you got there. The third law of motion states that for every action, we consider that force. In nature, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Like Bruce Lee said, be the water. I tell you in my book, be the force. Be the force. You can get the Rory T. Edwards 13 Commandments by Rory T. Edwards on my website, www.rorytedwards.com. Go there, look at the books. Send me an email at rorytedwards1@gmail.com. I respect, I receive all comments. I take everything and I don't take anything personal, but send those comments because what's going to do is going to draw content for us to go forward in these conversations as we have with you on this global. That's the new title. Now we're going to make it global. We're not going to stay national. We're not going to stay local. We're not going to stay regional. We're going to make it global. So if you want to go global with me, if you want to be brilliant, you want to be excellent, you want to live in, you want to take away the fear out of your living in excellence, get on this train. We're taking this train full speed, the bullet train, to your purpose in life. And we know it's going to be an amazing journey. And all I ask for you to do is just say my name quietly, that I gave you an opportunity to be brilliant, to be the best that you can be. Be bold, be brilliant, be the best that you can possibly be. Because that's the only thing that you were here for. Don't ever settle for mediocrity. Don't ever settle for ordinary. Because what did Jay-Z said? Look around and see what ordinary gets you. Extraordinary figures. I'm an extraordinary. Fill in the word, but you better not say it in my presence. How about that? Okay. Just want to say thank you very much. I think I dropped enough jewels today. I don't know. If not, get at us. Let us know. Next time it's going to be Ennis Wesley and I sitting here at this table. But if I have to come to you again, I'm going to bring some jewels to you. I'm going to bring some things to you. I hope we had a little fun in this. I hope we got a few laughs out of this. I hope you like my hat, because every time I come to the show, I'm going to have a new hat. That's my MO, my hats. I'm going to bring my hats. I'm going to bring my swag. I'm going to bring some laughter. I'm going to bring another side of me that you probably don't see on Facebook and YouTube, because I'm very serious about that. I'm serious about this information too. But since this is going global, you never know. I might be invited over to a country to be on a comedy tour or something like that too, because I have jokes too. Please understand it. For those who do know me, know I have jokes. For those who don't know me, get to know me. We're going to have some fun. We're going to have some jokes, but we're going to learn. And we're going to learn, we're going to lead, we're going to love, and we're going to live life to the fullest. So until we connect again, I'd like to say ashe, peace and blessings, and hope you have an amazing and great day.